The stars were quiet, spread like silver dust across the endless dark. Out there, in the cold space between worlds, a fleet of alien warships moved slowly, their engines glowing like burning eyes. They were huge, sharp, and built to destroy. Their armor shined with hard lines, strong edges, and brutal designs. For thousands of years they had ruled the galaxy, breaking every race that dared to stand against them. Now, these aliens had found something strange, something that did not look like any warship they had ever seen before. Floating alone, waiting without fear, was a human ship. The alien commander leaned forward in his chair. His skin was rough, his eyes narrow like blades. He gave a cruel smile when he saw it. "Is this a joke?" he said, his voice echoing through the control deck. "The ship looks weak, soft, almost beautiful." The crew laughed with him. On their screens, the human ship appeared smooth and curved, almost like it was built for art, not for war. There were no heavy spikes, no sharp weapons pointing out, no armor that screamed of battle. It looked fragile. "Touch them, I dare you," the commander said again, his voice louder this time. "Humans think they can handle perfection? Let us test their foolish pride." The aliens prepared their smaller ships. Fast and sharp, they shot forward, circling the strange human vessel. The commander ordered them to test its surface, to hit it, to push it, to see if it would break like glass. The human ship did not move. Inside, the human captain stood tall, watching the alien fleet on his own screen. His face was calm, his eyes steady. Around him, his crew sat in silence, their hands ready but not shaking. They did not laugh and they did not fear. They only waited. The captain spoke quietly, almost to himself. "They still don't understand. They think strength is only in hard edges. Let them try." Outside, one alien ship moved close. It touched the curve of the human vessel, pressing against its smooth surface. Nothing happened. Another ship fired a small weapon, a beam of green light that struck the human ship's side. The beam slid away, bending like water, curving around the hull, vanishing into space. The alien pilots blinked in shock. "It cannot be," one said. The commander's smile grew wider. "Play with them. Push harder." More alien ships joined. They fired, they pushed, they struck with metal claws. Again and again the weapons bent, the fire slid away, the claws found no hold. The curves of the human ship seemed to swallow every attack, giving nothing back. Still, the human vessel did not move. Inside, the crew looked to their captain. He nodded once, slowly. His voice was calm, steady, filled with pride. "Every curve has a reason," he said. "Every line is made to survive." The aliens grew louder in their laughter. They believed the humans were simply lucky, that the ship was nothing more than a strange toy. Yet beneath their laughter, a seed of fear began to grow. Something about those curves, something about that silence did not feel right. The commander leaned back in his chair. "This is only the beginning," he whispered. "If this is the best humanity can build, we will crush them in a single breath." But deep inside, even he felt a small chill. Why did the humans not fight back? Why did they not panic? Why did their ship stand so still, so calm, as if waiting for something the aliens could not see? The stars kept watching, cold and endless. The alien fleet surrounded the human ship like wolves around a quiet lion. And still the curved vessel did not break, did not fall, did not even flinch. The commander raised his hand. "Prepare the next attack," he ordered. His voice was strong, but his heart was unsure. He could feel it now. The game was not as simple as he thought. These curves were not weakness. They were hiding something. And soon the galaxy would learn what. The alien fleet closed in around the strange human ship. The commander, sitting tall in his throne-like chair, narrowed his eyes. He had lived through 100 wars, crushed dozens of weaker races, and burned their worlds without mercy. To him, humans were just another small species playing at power. But this ship, this strange curved design, it made him curious. It made him angry too. How dare these fragile creatures come into his space with something so strange, so unlike the hard, brutal warships of the galaxy? "Send in the hunters," he growled. His voice echoed across the bridge. "Tear it open. Test every inch of its skin. Let us see if humans can survive the touch of real power." At once, 6 small alien attack ships broke from the fleet. They were fast, sharp, and deadly, shaped like knives with wings. Their engines burned hot blue as they rushed toward the silent human vessel. Inside the human ship, the crew watched in silence. The alien ships moved like vultures circling prey, but the human captain did not speak a word. His eyes stayed fixed on the screen, calm, steady and unreadable. The first alien fighter moved close. Its pilot laughed, baring his teeth. "Weak design," he muttered. He fired a short pulse of plasma directly at the curve of the human hull. The shot struck and bent. The bright fire slid across the surface like water sliding off glass. It curved along the shape of the ship, split into streams of light, and vanished harmlessly into the darkness. The alien pilot froze. "What? That's impossible." Another ship fired. Then another. Plasma beams, energy bolts, laser fire, all struck, all slid away. Not a single mark was left on the human vessel. The curved surface seemed to reject every attack, bending the energy in ways no alien had ever seen. Back on the command deck, the alien commander leaned forward, his smile returning. "Interesting," he said softly, "but tricks will not save them forever. Break their silence. Break their pride." He raised his clawed hand. "Attack with full force." The 6 attack ships moved in closer. 2 of them extended metal claws, sharp and glowing with heat, ready to rip into the ship's hull. They struck hard, expecting to hear the tearing scream of metal. Instead, the claws scraped across the curve and slipped away like knives across stone. Sparks flew, but no damage remained. It was as if the ship's skin was alive, guiding every strike away. Inside the alien fighters, panic began to grow. "It will not hold still," one pilot shouted. "The surface bends us away." But the human ship was perfectly still. Not a single weapon had been fired, not a single move made. It simply waited, calm and silent, as if daring them to try harder. The human crew whispered among themselves. "They don't understand," one said softly. "Not yet," another replied. The captain raised his hand for silence. His voice was calm, strong. "Let them test. The more they test, the more they reveal their weakness." The alien commander clenched his teeth. His pride burned at the sight. "Are humans mocking us?" he demanded. "Do they think their silence is strength?" He turned to his officers. "Prepare the siege ships. If they will not fight, we will break them open piece by piece. I want to hear them scream." More ships moved forward, larger, heavier, carrying weapons that had shattered worlds. They locked onto the human vessel. On their screens, glowing red targets painted across the smooth, curved hull. Still, the human ship did not move. The alien commander leaned closer to the screen. "This ends now," he whispered. He raised his hand. "Fire!" The galaxy seemed to tremble. Beams of pure energy, missiles of molten fire, and blasts of plasma shot forward all at once. The darkness of space filled with light. Explosions shook the void as the alien fleet unleashed its rage. For a moment, the human ship disappeared behind the storm of fire. The alien crew cheered. The commander laughed, sharp and cruel. "So much for their perfection," he said. "So much for their proud silence." But then, the light cleared. The human ship was still there, untouched. The curves of its hull had bent the fury of the alien fleet, redirecting the power harmlessly into the void. Every missile had curved away. Every beam had split. The ship floated in silence like a ghost that refused to die. The alien bridge fell silent. No one laughed now. The commander's smile faded. His claws dug into the arm of his chair. What are they hiding?" he whispered. Inside the human ship, the captain finally spoke. His voice was calm, steady, filled with quiet pride. "They think curves are weakness, but they do not know. Perfection lies in what they cannot break." The crew nodded, their eyes shining. They had seen this before. Many times aliens had laughed. Many times they had tested. None had ever succeeded, but outside the alien fleet was not finished. Their pride was burning, their fury boiling. If small weapons could not break the humans, then greater weapons would. If simple fire could not tear them apart, then they would call on the full might of their empire. The commander stood tall, his voice filled with rage. "Summon the war engines," he shouted. "We will not stop until this fragile human toy is ash and dust. Let the galaxy see how we crush them." The order spread through the fleet. Massive war engines, sleeping deep inside the ships, began to wake. Their power was strong enough to break moons, to tear apart battle stations, to shatter armies. And still, the human ship waited, silent, calm, unmoving, as if daring them. "Go ahead, test us." The alien fleet filled the stars like a storm of fire. Their war engines hummed, weapons glowing with power that could tear open mountains. The commander stood tall in his seat, his eyes locked on the strange human vessel. It floated silently, still and calm, as if the galaxy's fury meant nothing. Its curved surface glowed faintly in the starlight, smooth and flawless, almost alive. The commander raised his hand. "Now," he roared. "Show the humans the power of true war." The war engines fired. Beams of energy thicker than rivers shot across the void. Missiles screamed through space, leaving burning trails of fire. The galaxy seemed to shake as 1,000 weapons fell upon the human ship all at once. The crew of the alien fleet cheered, their screens blinding with light. No ship could survive this storm. No ship had ever survived. But when the light faded, the human vessel was still there, not broken, not even scratched. The curved hull shimmered with strange energy. Every beam of fire had bent around it, flowing harmlessly into space. Every missile had split away, guided off course by invisible forces. The alien storm had been swallowed whole. Silence filled the alien bridge. Not a single crew member dared to breathe. The commander's jaw tightened. His claws dug into the arms of his chair. "Impossible," he whispered. "No design can do this. No species can resist the war engines." But the truth was clear before him. The curves of the human ship had turned the fury of an empire into nothing. Inside the vessel, the human captain watched calmly. His crew sat straight, their faces proud but steady. They were not surprised. They had expected this. The captain spoke softly, his voice carrying through the silent ship. "They see weakness in our design. They see beauty where they expect war, but they do not understand the truth. These curves are not weakness. They are strength." One young officer asked, "Captain, should we answer their attack?" The captain shook his head. "Not yet. Let them learn. The more they strike, the more they reveal." Outside, alien ships moved nervously. Pilots whispered to each other, their voices sharp with fear. "It bends everything," one said. "Our weapons cannot touch it," another whispered. "This is no simple trick," a third muttered. "This ship is alive." The commander slammed his fist down. "Enough of this cowardice," he shouted. "Humans cannot be stronger than us. If weapons cannot break them, then we will tear them apart with force." He ordered his heaviest assault ships to ram the vessel. Massive ships bigger than cities broke from the fleet. Engines flared as they charged forward, ready to crush the human ship under their steel. The first one struck. Its sharp nose slammed into the curve of the human hull, only to slide away like a toy on glass. The great ship spun, twisting helplessly into space, its own force used against it. The second rammed harder. Again, the curve bent the strike, spinning the attacker off course. Its armor tore apart, breaking under its own power. The alien commander's eyes widened. No, it cannot be. One after another, the ramming ships failed. The curves of the human vessel guided every strike away, turning strength into weakness, power into destruction. The aliens had become victims of their own might. Inside, the human captain finally smiled. It was not a smile of pride, but of quiet knowing. He turned to his crew. Centuries of failure built these curves. Centuries of war, of broken designs, of mocked ideas. The galaxy laughed at our ships, called them weak, called them foolish. But the truth of survival is hidden here. Every angle, every line, every curve is made to bend, to absorb, to return what is given. That is why we endure, the crew nodded. They had lived this history. They knew the laughter of the galaxy, the mocking of alien engineers who thought humans built toys instead of weapons. Now those same engineers would weep in silence. The alien commander felt rage burn in his chest. His pride screamed for victory, but fear gnawed at him. He saw it now. The humans had built perfection, not in sharpness, not in brute force, but in balance. His voice shook with fury. "Prepare the ultimate weapon. If this ship will not fall, then we will burn the humans with the fire of suns." Across the fleet, massive weapons came alive. Their cores burned with stolen stars, their energy bright enough to blind. They had been used only once before, in a war that had ended whole civilizations. The crew cheered again. Though their voices shook with doubt, the human ship remained silent. Inside, the captain closed his eyes. He whispered more to himself than to his crew. "Let them bring the fire of suns. We are ready." The curves of the ship glowed faintly now, as if they could feel the coming storm. Energy hummed across its surface, soft but strong, waiting, watching. The aliens prepared to unleash the greatest weapon they had ever built. The humans waited. Silent, calm, daring the galaxy once more. Touch them. If you dare. The alien fleet stood in silence. Their weapons glowed like suns. Their engines rumbled like thunder, yet not a single soul moved. All eyes stared at the strange human ship, curved and calm, floating in the dark. The alien commander clenched his fists. He wanted to give the order to fire, but something inside him hesitated. Why did the humans not move? Why did they not panic? What secret did they hold inside those soft, flawless curves? Inside the vessel, the human captain rose from his seat. His crew looked at him with quiet respect. They had seen this moment before in training, in battles, in tests. They knew the captain's calm voice would carry them through. "They still think we are weak," he said softly. His eyes never left the giant alien fleet outside. "They see our designs and think of toys. They laugh at our shapes, our lines, our curves. They believe strength is only found in sharp edges and heavy armor. But they do not know the truth." The crew waited. The captain's words were more than commands. They were a story, a memory, a reminder of why they were here. "Long ago," he continued, "we too built ships like theirs, hard, sharp, brutal. We thought strength was only in hardness. But those ships broke. Every battle tore us apart. Every strike cracked our armor. We survived wars, yes, but barely. We were always rebuilding, always bleeding." He paused, letting the weight of the words sink in. "One day our engineers looked at nature. They saw rivers flowing, storms bending, trees swaying in the wind but never breaking. They asked themselves, why must we resist force with force? Why not bend it? Why not curve it away?" A young officer whispered almost to herself, "Curves do not fight the storm. They dance with it." The captain nodded. "Yes, and so we began to build ships with new shapes. Not to resist, but to survive. Not to break, but to endure. Every curve has meaning. Every line has purpose." The galaxy mocked us. They said our ships were weak, fragile, even beautiful. They laughed as if beauty had no power. He turned, looking each crew member in the eye. His voice grew stronger. "But beauty is strength. Perfection is not in hardness, it is in balance. They will learn this today." The crew straightened, pride burning in their eyes. This was not just a battle. This was history. This was proof. Outside, the alien fleet rumbled with tension. Pilots and officers whispered to each other. "Why does the human ship not fight? Why do they not run?" The commander slammed his clawed fist down. "Because they are cowards," he roared. "They hide behind tricks and weak designs. But now they will face true power. Prepare the fire." The massive cannons of the alien fleet aimed once more. Energy built in their cores, bright enough to blind. The fire of suns gathered at the tips of their weapons. Inside the human ship, silence filled the air. The captain closed his eyes. "They will unleash everything, and they will fail. Because we are not only survivors, we are creators. We made the galaxy laugh once. Today we make it fear." One officer smiled. "Humanity's pride, Captain." He nodded. "Yes, our pride." The alien commander raised his hand. "Fire!" The universe exploded in light. Beams of energy brighter than stars shot across the void. The heat of suns screamed forward. For a moment, the human vessel vanished inside the storm. The alien crew roared with victory. They were certain nothing could survive. But when the light cleared, the human ship still floated, silent, unbroken, glowing with faint energy, its curves shimmering like waves of water. The alien commander's eyes widened in horror. His voice cracked. "No, not possible." Inside, the captain finally opened his eyes. "Now," he said quietly. The curves of the ship pulsed with hidden light. The design that once looked fragile now glowed with impossible power. Energy rippled across its surface, bending space itself. The crew smiled with pride. The galaxy's laughter no longer mattered. This was humanity's answer. Strength through curves, survival through balance, perfection through design. And now the aliens would learn the price of underestimating humanity's pride. The alien fleet shook with fury. Their strongest weapons, their fire of suns, had done nothing. The human ship still floated in the dark, calm and untouched. Its glowing curves shimmered like water, smooth and alive, bending all force away. The alien commander stood frozen. His claws dug into the armrests of his chair. He wanted to shout, to laugh, to deny what his eyes showed him. But the truth could not be denied. Their might was useless. Across the bridge, his officers whispered in fear. "No ship can do this," one said. "It bends physics itself," another whispered. Maybe the humans are not as weak as we thought." The commander snarled, his pride burning hotter than his fear. Silence, he roared. His voice cracked with rage. They cannot resist forever. They are flesh, they are fragile, and they will break. He turned to his fleet. Prepare every weapon. Missiles, beams, claws, everything. We will drown them in fire until their silence ends. The order spread. Thousands of ships locked onto the human vessel. Engines screamed as weapons charged again. Missiles rose from their bays like swarms of hornets. The galaxy lit with red targeting beams. Inside the human ship, the crew watched quietly. The captain stood tall, his face calm. They are desperate now, he said softly. Desperation is the enemy's first mistake. The crew nodded. They had seen this before. It was always the same, first laughter, then anger, then fear. And at the end, silence. The alien fleet unleashed its storm missiles, streaked through space, 1,000 at once. Energy beams cut across the dark like rivers of fire. Explosions filled the void, shaking the very fabric of space. It was a storm so massive that even stars seemed dim beside it. And yet the human vessel endured. Every missile curved away, guided harmlessly into nothing. Every beam bent, split, and dissolved across the smooth hull. Explosions rolled across the surface like waves across the sea, leaving no scar behind. The alien pilots screamed in confusion. Their weapons betrayed them, their power turned useless. Ships spun off course, colliding with one another. Their own force turned against them. The commander's voice broke into a roar. Push harder! Do not stop! But his words carried no strength. His crew looked at him with doubt, their faith shaken. For the first time in centuries, their empire was powerless. Inside the human ship, the captain finally sat down. His calm voice carried like iron through the silence. They will break before we do. He was right. One alien warship overloaded its core in desperation. Its massive engine exploded, tearing the vessel apart. The shockwave rippled across the fleet, striking other ships, damaging their own lines. Commander, an officer cried. We are destroying ourselves. The commander slammed his fist down. His rage boiled hotter than the stars outside. No, they are tricking us. They cannot be this strong. They cannot. But deep inside he knew the truth. He had mocked the humans, laughed at their design, called them weak. Now their silence mocked him in return. The human captain spoke again, his words filled with quiet pride. They thought curves were weakness. They thought beauty had no strength. But now they see. The storm breaks itself against us. The crew straightened, their eyes shining with pride. This was humanity's breaking point, but not theirs. It was the alien empire that had reached its limit. Outside, the alien fleet faltered. Ships pulled back, their lines broken. The fire of suns dimmed. Their storm had ended, leaving only silence. On the bridge of the alien flagship, fear spread like a disease. Officers looked at each other, their eyes wide. The commander's voice cracked when he spoke. If weapons cannot break them, what will? No one answered. Inside the human ship, the captain gave his first true smile. Not of joy, but of certainty. They will never break us, he said. Because strength is not in power. It is in endurance, and humanity endures. The alien fleet had thrown everything at them, missiles, beams, suns themselves. And still the human vessel stood, calm, silent, unbroken. The commander collapsed back into his chair. His pride, his empire, his certainty all shattered. He had met the breaking point. But it was not the humans who broke. It was him. The alien fleet drifted in silence. Their weapons were quiet now, their fury spent. Where there had once been laughter and confidence, there was only fear. Thousands of ships surrounded the human vessel, yet not one had left a scratch upon it. Inside the alien flagship, the commander sat in his throne, his eyes burning with rage and disbelief. His voice was low, trembling. We gave them everything. Fire, steel, suns themselves. And still they remain. No officer dared to speak. They had seen the truth with their own eyes. Their weapons had bent. Their attacks had failed. The human ship was unbreakable. But outside, the humans were not finished. Inside their vessel, the captain finally stood. He had watched long enough. He had let the aliens strike again and again, wasting their strength, breaking their pride. Now it was time. He turned to his crew. His voice was calm, steady, but filled with power. For too long, they mocked us. For too long, they laughed at our designs, calling us weak, fragile, foolish. Today, they will learn why humanity never bends to fear. Today, they will learn why we survive. The crew straightened in their seats. Their hands moved across glowing panels, activating systems that had been waiting in silence. The curves of the ship pulsed with new energy, brighter and stronger than before. The captain raised his hand. "Open the arcs." At once, parts of the ship's smooth hull shifted. What had seemed like seamless curves opened into hidden channels of light. Energy surged along them, glowing lines spreading across the vessel like veins of fire. The curves bent and twisted, focusing the power inward, then outward, preparing something no alien eye had ever seen. The alien fleet watched in horror. For so long they had mocked the curves. Now those same curves glowed with a light that promised death. One alien pilot whispered, "What are they doing?" Another said, They were never defending. They were preparing." The commander's claws tightened. He shouted to his fleet, his voice desperate. "Stop them. Destroy them before it's too late." But his words were too late. The human ship came alive. A pulse of pure energy rippled outward, invisible at first, then blazing like lightning across the void. The curves of the ship bent the energy, shaped it, sharpened it until it exploded outward in a wave. The first line of alien ships shattered instantly. Their armor cracked. Their engines tore apart. Their weapons burned to ash. The shockwave spread farther, breaking ships in every direction. The alien fleet screamed in chaos. Thousands of voices cried out, their pride collapsing into panic. Ships spun helplessly as the wave of energy tore through them, leaving only wreckage behind. On the human ship, the crew watched with steady eyes. Their captain's voice carried across the bridge. "We never built curves for beauty alone. We built them to hold power, to shape it, to make the impossible real. The galaxy mocked us. Now the galaxy will remember us." Another blast surged outward. The curves bent and focused the energy again, turning silence into destruction. Alien cruisers exploded in brilliant fire. Carriers split apart, their weapons silenced forever. The alien commander's eyes widened with horror. No, this cannot be. They were prey. They were weak. His voice broke into a whisper. "What have we done?" For the first time in his long, proud life, he felt fear. Inside the human vessel, the captain looked at his crew. His words were quiet but sharp as steel. "We endure, and when the time comes, we strike. That is humanity's way." The crew answered as one. "Yes, Captain." Outside, the alien fleet scattered. Some tried to fight, their weapons flashing weakly against the human ship's glowing curves. Others fled, their engines burning as they tried to escape the wave of destruction. But the humans did not chase. They did not need to. The message was clear, no one could touch them and survive. The captain lowered his hand. "That is enough. Let the survivors carry the story. Let the galaxy hear what happened here today." The glowing arcs of the ship dimmed, closing back into smooth curves once more. The vessel returned to silence, calm and perfect, as if nothing had happened. But across the galaxy, everything had changed. The aliens who once laughed at humanity would now speak their name with fear. They would whisper of the ship that could not be broken, of the curves that bent the fury of suns, of the humans who dared the impossible, and those who survived would carry a single message back to their worlds. Touch them if you dare. The battlefield was silent. Where once thousands of alien ships had filled the stars with fire and fury, now there was only wreckage. Burned husks drifted in the void, their broken hulls glowing faintly as they spun into darkness. The proud fleet that had mocked humanity was gone, scattered like dust across the galaxy. At the center of it all, the human ship floated calmly, its curved surface once more smooth and quiet, as if it had never moved, as if the storm of war had been nothing more than a whisper. Inside the alien flagship, what remained of the commander's crew trembled. Their eyes were wide, their hands shaking, their voices lost. They had witnessed the impossible. They had seen their weapons turned aside, their power bent away, their fleet destroyed by a single ship. The commander sat in silence. His pride was broken, his voice gone. For the first time, he understood fear not as an enemy's weapon, but as a truth that lived inside him. He had challenged humanity, and humanity had answered with perfection. On the human ship, the captain stood tall. His crew watched him with quiet pride, knowing this moment would be remembered forever. "Transmit a message," the captain said. His voice was calm, yet it carried the weight of iron. One officer turned, ready at the controls. What message, Captain? The captain's eyes stayed on the alien flagship. His words were simple. Tell them, touch us again if you dare. The officer pressed the command. Across the void, the message was sent, clear, sharp, undeniable. The words echoed through every channel, reaching every surviving alien ship, searing themselves into memory. The aliens who heard it felt their hearts sink. It was not a threat. It was not anger. It was truth. Humanity had spoken, and the galaxy would never forget. The alien commander bowed his head. His pride was dust. His fleet was ash. He could not answer. He could only listen as the message repeated again, soft but unbreakable. Touch us again if you dare. The surviving alien ships turned slowly, retreating into the endless dark. They did not fire, they did not chase. They fled. Inside the human vessel, the crew exhaled as one. The battle was over. Their silence had been tested. Their curves had been mocked, but now their strength was proven. Humanity's design, their strange and beautiful perfection, had bent the galaxy's greatest storm and turned it back on its makers. But the captain's face did not soften. His eyes remained cold, watching the fleeing ships vanish into the stars. This was only the beginning, he said quietly. The crew turned toward him, confused. Captain? He spoke with calm certainty. The galaxy will not forget what happened here. The survivors will carry the story. But stories spread. And where stories spread, challengers come. Others will want to test us. Others will want to break us. Today we fought one fleet. Tomorrow it may be an empire. The crew fell silent. They knew he was right. Humanity had shown its strength, but strength invited danger. One officer asked softly, "Then what do we do?" The captain's gaze stayed fixed on the endless dark. We endure. We always endure. And when the galaxy comes again, we will be ready. Let them test us. Let them mock us. Let them strike with everything they have. The more they test, the more they will break themselves. The ship glowed faintly, its curves shimmering as if alive, as if listening to his words. Far away, the broken alien commander sent his final report. His voice was hollow, stripped of pride. Do not approach humanity. Do not touch their ships. Do not test their designs. For those curves, those magnificent curves, will break us all. The report ended, but already across the galaxy the story had begun to spread. Some races would laugh. They would call it a myth, a tale to frighten children. Others would whisper in fear, remembering how many fleets had already vanished into silence. And still others, proud, arrogant, curious, would wonder if the story was true. They would want to see for themselves. They would want to test. And so the legend grew. The humans did not chase. They did not boast. They simply waited, calm and patient, daring the galaxy with silence. For they knew the truth. In the end, it was never about power or size or fire. It was about endurance. It was about survival. It was about the unshakable pride of a species that refused to break. The human captain stood at the center of his bridge. His crew watched him, silent and strong. He gave one last command, "Let the galaxy come. And when they do, let them touch us," he smiled, cold and certain, "if they dare."